The Great Mosque of Aleppo. The Umayyad Mosque of Aleppo is the largest and one of the oldest mosques in the city of Aleppo, Syria. It is located in al-Jalloum district of the ancient city of Aleppo, a World Heritage Site near the entrance to al-Madina Souq. The mosque is purportedly home to the remains of Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist. It was built in the beginning of the 8th century. However, the current building dates back to the 11th through 14th centuries. The minaret was built in 1090, and was destroyed during fighting in the Syrian civil war in April 2013. History. Founding. The site of the Great Mosque was once the Agra of the Hellenistic period, which later became the garden for the Cathedral of St. Helena during the Christian era of Roman rule in Syria. The mosque was built on confiscated land that formerly served as the cathedral cemetery. According to later traditions, the construction of the earliest mosque on the site was commenced by the Umayyad Caliph al-Walid I in 715 and was finished by his successor, Sulayman ibn Abd al-Malik in 717. Architectural historian K.A.C. Cresswell attributes its construction solely to the latter, quoting 13th-century Aleppian historian Ibn al-Adam, who wrote Sulayman's intent was to make it equal to the work of his brother al-Walid in the Great Mosque at Damascus. Another tradition claims al-Walid founded the mosque using materials from the so-called Church of Cyrus. However, architectural historian J.L. Bachrach writes that the most likely patron of the mosque was Maslama ibn Abd al-Malik, a brother of al-Walid and Sulayman, who served as the governor of the local province sometime prior to 710 until at least the early period of Sulayman's rule. Accordingly, this would explain the belief that the mosque's construction took place during the reign of both caliphs. Moreover, Maslama's governorship of Qanasrin was largely ignored by the early Arabic historians, who focused their attention on his campaigns against the Byzantine Empire and the Armenians, and his governorship over the provinces of Iraq, Iranian Azerbaijan, Upper Mesopotamia and Armenia. Bachrach further states that Maslama's commissioning of a large congregational mosque in Aleppo, a major base from which to attack the Byzantines, would have been appropriate, if not necessary. Renovation. In the second half of the 11th century, the Mirdasids controlled Aleppo and built a single dome fountain in the mosque's courtyard. At the northwest corner of the mosque, the 45-meter-high minaret was built by the Shia Muslim Qadi of Aleppo Abu Hassan Muhammad in 1090, during the reign of Seljuk governor Agu Sunka al-Hajib. Its construction was finished in 1094 during Tutush's rule. The architect of the project was Hassan ibn Mufarraj al-Samini. The mosque was restored and expanded by the Zengid Sultan Enwar al-Din in 1159 after a great fire that had destroyed the earlier Umayyad structure. In 1260 the mosque was razed by the Mongols. The Mamluks made repairs and alterations. Carved Kufic and Naskhi inscriptions decorated the entire minaret along with alternate bands of stylized ornaments in patterns and muqarnas. Sultan Kalawan replaced the burnt-out mihrab in 1285. Later, Sultan al-Nazir Muhammad had the new minbar constructed during his reign. The courtyard and minaret of the mosque were renovated in 2003. Syrian civil war. On 13 October 2012, the mosque was seriously damaged during clashes between the armed groups of the Free Syrian Army and the Syrian Army forces. President Bashar al-Assad issued a presidential decree to form a committee to repair the mosque by the end of 2013. The mosque was seized by rebel forces in early 2013, and, as of April 2013, is within an area of heavy fighting, with government forces stationed 200 meters away. On the 24th of April 2013, the minaret of the mosque was reduced to rubble during an exchange of heavy weapons fire between government forces and rebels. During the ongoing Syrian civil war, the Syrian Arab news agency reported that members of Jabhat al-Nusra detonated explosives inside the minaret, while opposition activists said that the minaret was destroyed by Syrian army tank fire as part of an offensive, countering assertions by the state media of Jabhat al-Nusra's involvement. Opposition sources described them as rebels from the Tawhid brigades who were fighting government forces around the mosque. The opposition's main political bloc, the Syrian National Coalition, condemned the minaret's destruction, calling it an indelible disgrace and a crime against human civilization. Architecture. Courtyard. The Great Mosque contains a number of architectural similarities to the Great Mosque of Damascus, including a hypo-style plan with large marbled courtyards surrounded by porticos. The vast courtyard connects to different areas of the mosque, positioned behind the colonnaded arcade. The courtyard is well known for its alternating black and white stone floor that forms intricate geometric arrangements, two ablutions fountains, both of which are roofed. The courtyard also has an open prayer estrade and a sundial. Interior. The harem consists of the main prayer hall to the courtyard's south, which contains the primary elements of the mosque: the shrine of Zechariah, a 15th-century minbar, and an elaborately carved mihrab. Although the central entrance contains an inscription attributing its construction to Ottoman Sultan Murad III, it was built by the Mamluks. The hall has 3 naves, all lined with 18 quadrangular columns with cross vaults. This large prayer hall originally had a basic straight rooftop with a central dome, but during Mamluk rule was replaced with an intricate cross-vaulted system with arches and a small dome over the arcades. The mihrab is deep and round, and Zechariah's supposed tomb is to its left along the southern wall. There are 3 other halls that abut the remaining sides of the courtyard. The eastern and northern halls each have 2 naves, while the western hall has 1. The latter is mostly of modern construction. The East Hall dates to the period of Malik Shah, and the North Hall was renovated during Mamluk Sultan Barkik's reign, but largely maintained its original 11th-century character. Minaret. The minaret's shaft, which protruded out of the flat roof of one of the halls, consisted of 5 levels with a crowning top encircled with a veranda. A muqarnas-style cornice divided the veranda top from the shaft. The structure was largely built of fine ashlar. The minaret was heavily decorated in relief ornament, more so than any other Islamic-era structure in Aleppo with the exception of the Shu'aybiyya Madrasa. Its stories contained cusped arches and continuous moldings. The masonry of the minaret varied throughout, with a mix of light and heavy usage of toothed tools, short, long, vertical and horizontal strokes, fine and rough finishes, and small and large stones. According to E. J. Brill's first Encyclopedia of Islam, the minaret was quite unique in the whole of Muslim architecture. Archaeologist Ernst Herzfeld described the architectural style of the minaret as being the product of Mediterranean civilization, writing that its 4 facades carried elements of Gothic architecture. Meanwhile, anthropologist Yasser Tabar stated the mosque was a continuation of the ancient North Syrian churches and an entirely localized phenomenon, centered mainly in the region between Aleppo and Edessa. Maksura. The Great Mosque has a small museum next to it containing a number of Islamic and pre-Islamic manuscripts, similar to the Great Mosque of Damascus. A maksura was built in the form of a square domed room raised by one step above the floor level of the prayer hall, and adorned with Kashan tiles that cover all the internal surfaces of its walls. A large arched gate supported by two robust columns and topped with capitals as well as a bronze door screen comprised the entranceways to the maksura. The tomb containing the remains of Prophet Zechariah, decorated with silver embroideries containing Quranic verses from the chapter of Maryam, was located in the center of the room. The museum's number of valuable objects, including a box purportedly containing a strand of the Prophet Muhammad's hair, were subject to looting during the Syrian war in the 2013 clash. However, rebels claimed they had instead salvaged ancient handwritten Quranic manuscripts and hidden them. Gallery. Bibliography